Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky. He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble. Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing away. He don't stop to wonder why. Finds his lifelong friend just lying in the road. Well, it's a touching reunion. He sees what's left of the rippling wall. Years of work undone in an instant. In the calamity. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a gas fella. Forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Starts to feel his bruises, though. Kid just rages for a while. An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink. A school of squirts tunnels up around them. Must have fled here from the mines. He sets foot inside one of Celandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did. Then Kid finds his trusty shield. The security takes him for a petty thief. Clang. Shield saves his hide. Windbags start turning up for last call. Squirts start coming out of the woodwork. A big old fella pops out in front of the kid. Kid sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop. He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke. Kid spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back. Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid. Right back at you. Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner. He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town. One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man. The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job. Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins. Ferry barge sends the kid on his way. The Bastion's real close now. And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling. Kid takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags. The kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. robs a scumbag of his last meal. Kid puts him out of his misery. He finds the core to the Wharf District. He steals the city's heart. Might as well. The kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall. See, that core kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat. The kid just keeps running. Somersaulting like crazy. At last, the skyway's in sight. Whisks him where it needs to go. Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest, enough to point the way to the cores. All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there, then watch. And just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again, growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build. The Bastion's a place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to. 'Ain't much kid can't handle with hammer and bow in hand. Kid don't know what's out there waiting for him. The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands. Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong. Ought to be a core down one of these twisted streets, but which one? He heads for the Squirt Steps. Won't be no field trip this time. He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge. Somehow that old forge is still standing. Inside the forge, Kid can fine-tune those instruments of his. Kid's lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting. Core ain't here neither, so he's gotta guess again. The rest of the path is gone for good, and his city crest won't bring it back. Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock. The white gas fellas all dress alike. Kids wondering the same thing. And there it is, but it's locked down tight in an alloy cage. A blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check, almost like he's showboating for the crowd. And now there's a new marshal in town. He hears the whole place groan, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole. Kid ain't ever seen an elephant squirt before. Hopes he'll never see one again. They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful in a pinch. Just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw. Squirts just don't know when to quit. He heads for the biggest dump in town. Scumbag alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is. The oldest scumbag of them all. Gershel. The calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition. They always said old Gershel wouldn't go without a fight. Kid's ready to go, and his ticket out's right where he started. He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next. The windbags used to be alright. Then the calamity took the floor out from under him. Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply. Cinderbrick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. A bow and a machete, every bit as effective as the fancier stuff. Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out. In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt. Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stabweeds. If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down. Core's stuck inside one of those fancy cages. Some of the stuff lying around is downright dangerous. No breaking a cage like that, but the kid tries anyway. Gotta find a way to spring it open. He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong? Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow. All Kid can do is wait. Shipments start falling in. Not every squirt's born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while. Scumbags don't take kindly to interlopers. Even some gas fellas take his corner. Birdie popped that mean old foreman. At this rate, maybe 5 more minutes, maybe 30. Hard to tell. Squirts get real territorial around the core. Then a shipment of free samples shows up. One thing's for sure, that cage is awful heavy. It ain't all bad. The kid finds some spices from the motherland, tax-free. It's a troublesome scene, to be sure. Moments left, and the core goes free. 10, 9, 8, 7, give or take a few seconds. Finally, the core's within reach. And done. He's got it. Just gotta get to the nearest barge. I still remember the look on his face after that one. The old world's finished, but the new world's just getting started. A lot of things need fixing up in this world, and we can start right here. Couples used to walk the sundown path. Kid ain't here for pleasure, though. But then, somebody gets to the core before the kid. The floor starts giving way under the lightest step. A single panic squirt could bring the whole place down. Fragments of the old world rain from the sky. Well, the path ain't exactly open to visitors no more. Security's all fired up. Quick and careful is the only way to go. Stray valuables are lying everywhere. The kid thinks twice about risking his hide for it, though. See, the path was intended for leisurely strolling and such. Sky bridges link the path together. One of them bridges whips the kid along. Air travel always was an iffy proposition. The calamity changed everything, even where the wind blows. Well, if we mastered the winds in the old days, we can do it again. But the question is, who else could have taken the core? Well, ain't no survivor stole the thing. Scumbag ate it by mistake. Tough break. Unlike the kid, that core ain't coming back. No, they used to ship live munitions down the path. Find time to find them. He's wise to toss those things plenty far away. Even gas fellas need some shut-eye from time to time. They get real cranky when you wake them up. In all his toil, Kid keeps coming back to an overwhelming question. Who else could have survived the calamity? So he didn't find a core that time, but that ain't about to stop us. The dead welcome him with open arms. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. You don't much care to see him. Not like this. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. It was someone like him. Kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nordy the bird boy didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? Kid does what he has to do. And then, what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this: we have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zulf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. For Zulf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Uras sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. Folks voyaged across the boundless sea to found Caelondia. It was good living here for a while. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. Squirt cider will toughen you right up. Too bad about the musty aftertaste. Of course, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. The little Zolwood oil and that blade shines like a light. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Kid says a little prayer anyway. Couldn't hurt, right? Pyth Orchard. Place is a dead end in more ways than one. Folks used to make pilgrimage here to pay their respects to Pyth, the bull. Well, the gods are long gone now. And the orchard core is long gone too. Seems Pyth ain't much of a watchdog. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. Pyth stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. Pyth makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pyth lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods, or tell them off? Pyth. Kid decides to press his luck. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. Kid ain't never seen windbags that quick. Maybe old Pyth put a scare in him. Passes Pyth's trial, and he's richer for it. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. Now we can build a shrine of our own, though I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. Turn him round and round all you like. Pyth's still gonna be ugly. There's only one way to Cinderbrick Fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The calamity was mercy for normal folks. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze, or starve, or face the kid. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. them wound up here in this very fort. Could have been minding the business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal's supplies, but the kid sure can. As for the windbags, Cinderbrick gave them enough heat and metal to munch on for a while. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame them for wanting it, though. Not a scratch on him as he presses on to higher ground. So many of those sorry things holed up inside that old fort. Kid's blasting everything in sight with that newfangled musket. Times like this, kid's glad he packed trip mines. Good thing the windbags don't know kid's fresh out of health tonics. Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. Kid ain't afraid of getting burned. They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds. Ludus and Clandon and all their scumbag uncles. They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose. Kid takes down Glutus. Maybe it was Glandon. The uncles go out with a whimper. Windbags finally get the message. Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. The Skyway's a welcome sight after all that. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf's telling me about his own journey to the city. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was his smoking pipe. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. Catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Caelondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. In time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. He saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. The past don't matter for nothing now. Zolf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. Behold, the Pantheon. The Langston River flowed free and wild till the calamity drank it all up. Maybe all that water just grew wings and flew off. Riverbank swarming with windbags. They're so bent on finding the core, they hardly notice the kid. Lucky for him, a certain famous ferry barge is still afloat. Weepin' Millie. She sends some squirts crying home as she leaves port. Maybe Nellie knows the way to the core. Maybe she can slip right past all the clamor on the coast. Or maybe not. A security skiff pulls up portside. Nellie's just another windbag to those guns. Just then, the windbags notice who she's sailing with. They're pretty steamed about what happened in Cinderbrick. They try to cut her off. They try to slow her down. The kid almost falls again. They try to knock her out. Well, Weepin' Nellie tries harder. Try as she might, though, she hits a snag. The kid's gotta help her get untangled. Favors for favors. At least she picked a good spot for a break. The core's right there. Then the kid hears an unusual sound, like 100 flapping wings. Peckers, they had their own eyes on the core. Why? He finds Weepin' Nellie raring to go. Turns out she's got a special surprise when the water's left rough. She's gonna need a little help among the peckers. Crafty things think they're king of the roost now. The rest of us only wish we could fly in times like these. Security skiffs keep on coming starboard side. Don't seem to care what they shoot as long as they hit something. Windbags getting even better out here. They aim to smash Weepin' Nellie to splinters. They don't know the kid's just trying to help. Maybe they don't care. Well, it all proves too much for poor Nellie. She's just gotta make one last stop. With her last breath, Nellie gets the kid to solid ground. Solid ground in Pecker country. They want that core real bad. Might be they want it just as bad as a kid. Kid shoos them off, knowing they'll be back. Know how many times Kid nearly fell off the barge back there? 5 times. Now, listen close. You should remember this next part. Why go to Prosper Bluff? Used to take an enterprising man or a plain old fool to venture out that far. The city was the most beautiful place in the world. We all knew that. But on the other hand, some folks just yearn to see the things they're told they can't. And that's why you go to Prosper Bluff, ain't it? The other kid hears something he ain't heard in a long while. How's it go again? Yeah, that's the one. No point explaining what happens next, right? Suffice it to say, kid ain't coming home empty-handed. And besides, it's like the song goes. They'll be here before too long. We darn near celebrated when the kid got back, didn't we? Zolf never thought he'd see a fellow Ura again. We become fast friends. Calamity has that effect on people. But there was more to be done. There was one last core to find. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the marshals kept a wary eye on him. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. If only I'd known half the secrets of the Calamity were tucked away in that book, I'd have worked to translate it right away. A scientific journal written in Zolf's native tongue. He learned so much from it. Too much. Kid says hello, but Zolf's lost in thought. Ain't always much to say. Most of the Ura never got a taste of Caelondia's fine goods, unless they were born and raised in the city like Zia here. Girl tried to run away from home one time, but the marshals stopped that, didn't they? So many secrets in there and she can't even read it. Her father's own journal. Kid's surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. The memorial. Here, kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. Hearty punch is so zesty, it'll let you carry on through the worst of times. We tracked the final core beyond the city to the wilds. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. You know what's better than having a sling or pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Pincushions ain't the worst of it either. Peckers got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. Kid's faster than a slinger with those guns. They shouldn't have let the guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him go without a fight. Wallflowers survive the calamity. It toughened him up. Best take it real slow when pincushions are afoot. By now, kid's got more needles in him than a stab wheel. Kid's roused up half the wilds by now. Then kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and you only make him mad. Sees a smooth black stone coughed up by the calamity. You see it plenty more. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf cursed the city. Cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. Sometimes a single look says it all. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. After Zolf's little episode, kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good, for all I know. Wherever he is, it's somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. The dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of Ura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. There's no way out. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Caelondia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. The security's just meant to sleep succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronde the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pyth the bull. Gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Hard to get a sure footing in the bog. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. Kid ain't about to be plant food just yet. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, the kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Want to stay alive in the wilds, pack a pair of pistols and a good blade. He ain't all that shy.